Well, Simone and Randy, after a YouTube video claimed to uncover $110 million in fraud at Minnesota daycare centers.
Federal authorities ramping up investigations into alleged social services fraud in Minnesota.
$18 billion stolen from programs designed to feed hungry children. 181 ghost daycare centers operating in a single suburb, and a network so confident in their immunity, they literally punched through a wall to fake a burglary. For 7 years, they didn't just exploit the system, they turned it into an ATM. This is the story of how federal agents dismantled the largest childcare fraud in American history, and why the silence after the raids proved the crime more than any audit ever could. 9:12 a.m., Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. A quiet commercial strip, morning traffic crawling past strip malls and fast food chains. At the corner sits a single-story brick building. Alphabet cutouts taped to the windows, a playground in the back, empty and waiting. The sign above the door reads Creative Minds Daycare, licensed for 99 children. To anyone driving by, it looks like a standard childcare facility. But moments later, the parking lot erupts. A convoy of unmarked federal SUVs floods the entrance. Agents from FBI, ICE, and the Department of Health and Human Services move with military precision. They're not here for a compliance check. They're executing a federal search warrant. If you believe stealing from children's programs deserves prison time, tap like now and comment justice. This isn't an isolated raid. At that exact moment, across the Twin Cities metro area, tactical teams are hitting 23 separate locations simultaneously. The target is a sprawling network of Somali-owned daycare centers suspected of defrauding taxpayers on an industrial scale. When agents breach the front door of Creative Minds, they expect chaos. Dozens of toddlers, shouting teachers, the noise of a facility licensed for 99 children. Instead, they find silence. The main room is empty, toys on the shelves covered in dust, undisturbed for months. The cribs in the nursery are pristine, unused. There are no children, there are no parents, only a skeleton crew of employees who look stunned to see federal badges. Instead of their usual empty room, the investigation reveals that this facility alone received $2.45 million in government subsidies over the last year. But the audacity doesn't stop at empty rooms. Agents discover that Creative Minds had been shut down by the state months earlier due to irregularities. But the operators didn't stop billing. They simply slapped a new vinyl banner over the old sign. Type new banner if you're starting to see the boldness of this fraud. The new name is Super Kids Academy. Under this new alias, the money keeps flowing, the state keeps paying, and the ghost children, names pulled from stolen identity lists, keep attending every single day. On paper, as agents secure the facility, the manager attempts to explain the lack of records. He tells a story so bold it leaves investigators speechless. He claims that just yesterday, one day after the HHS secretary formally requested attendance logs, a team of burglars broke into the building. But these weren't ordinary thieves. According to the manager, they didn't steal computers. They didn't take cash or electronics. He points to a hole smashed through the sheetrock wall, connecting the daycare to the Family Dollar next door. He claims the thieves broke in from the back kitchen, destroyed the wall, and stole exactly one thing: the paperwork. They supposedly ignored the safe, ignored the merchandise next door, just to steal enrollment forms and employee documentation that would have proven the fraud. It's a cover story so thin, it insults the intelligence of the agents standing in the room, but it reveals the mindset of the network. They believe they're untouchable. They believe that no matter how obvious the lie, the checks will keep clearing. Comment untouchable if you see how arrogant this network had become. But the ghost daycare raids are just the first layer. As federal data analysts cross-reference seized files with state property records, a second, even larger scam begins to emerge. The fraud has moved into the neighborhoods, residential homes, family houses, billing the state millions for specialized medical care. Analysts flag a disturbing pattern. In Brooklyn Park, a city with a population of 84,000 people, there are 181 registered assisted living facilities. Compare that to St. Paul, a city of 310,000 people, which has only 83. Why does a small suburb have more than double the care facilities of a major city? The answer isn't a surplus surplus of sick people. It's a surplus of scammers. Federal teams move to investigate these residential homes. They pull up to standard single-family houses, billing the state millions annually for 24-hour specialized care. At one residence, agents discover the owner is a man named Gandhi Mohammed, also known as Gandhi Abdi Kadai. His name is already famous in federal law enforcement circles. He's been indicted for laundering $1 million in the infamous Feeding Our Future scandal, the largest pandemic fraud in U.S. history. Yet despite being under federal indictment, despite awaiting trial for stealing tax money, the state of Minnesota is still paying him. Type "still paying" if this shocks you. His wife is listed as the administrator of the assisted living facility. The state checks are still arriving every month, depositing taxpayer funds into the accounts of a family already charged with massive fraud. This network of residential scams received $2.3 million in state money in the last year alone. Since 2016, this single group extracted $49 million. When independent journalists knock on the doors of these facilities, they're met with confusion. The residents, often elderly immigrants who speak little English, have no idea their home is a registered medical facility billing the government for intensive services. They're props in a play designed to loot the treasury. The investigation reveals this isn't just about a few bad actors. It's about a system designed to be robbed. The barriers to entry are non-existent. The auditing is a joke. In total, federal auditors identify 7,900 fraudulent loans approved for these networks, worth approximately $400 million. These are PPP loans and economic injury disaster loans, given to businesses that exist only on paper. Money meant to save American jobs during the pandemic. Instead, it bought luxury cars, real estate in Kenya, and funded a criminal empire growing exponentially. Comment $400 million if this scale shocks you. The sheer density of fraud in specific zip codes points to coordinated mills, shadow consultants who fill out thousands of applications for anyone willing to pay a kickback. They don't just steal the money, they industrialize the theft. As the scale becomes clear, the investigation expands beyond Minnesota. This isn't a local corruption scandal, it's a national crisis. The White House, briefed on the raids, releases a staggering estimate. The total value of fraud across these interlinked networks, spanning daycares, food programs, and assisted living, is estimated at $18 billion. To put that number in perspective, $18 billion could build 5 new aircraft carriers. It could end homelessness for veterans in every major U.S. city. Instead, it vanished into a labyrinth of shell companies and overseas transfers. Type $18 billion if this number shocks you as much as it shocked them. The contagion spreads to the West Coast. In Kent, Washington, federal investigators focus on a facility called Aisha Home Childcare. State records indicate this single home raked in $753,000 since 2022. The official capacity is 12 children, but when a decoy investigator enters the property, they find a scene that looks more like a stage set than a daycare. A small group of children stand silently in a room. Not a single toy is out of place. There's no noise, no playing, no mess. It's Potemkin Village, a fake facade erected solely to pass a scheduled inspection. The owner, Sarah Mullen, received nearly $113,000 in direct subsidies in just 2 years, on top of tens of thousands in social and health benefits. The system is paying them a salary, paying for their health care, and paying for their housing, all for running a business that serves almost no one. But the most damning evidence isn't what's found, it's what's missing. Comment "missing" if you're ready to see the final proof. In a legitimate crisis where thousands of daycares are being shut down, you would expect an uproar. You would expect tens of thousands of angry parents flooding the phone lines of the governor's office. You would expect protests from mothers and fathers who suddenly have nowhere to drop off their kids so they can go to work. There is silence. There are no lines of parents. There are no angry mobs on social media complaining about closures. The reason is chillingly simple. The parents don't exist. The children on the rolls are ghosts. The families receiving aid are synthetic identities or co-conspirators who receive kickbacks for lending their names to the roster. This silence proves the fraud more effectively than any audit. The entire ecosystem, the kids, the parents, the staff, is a fabrication. Type silence if you understand why this proof is so devastating. The political fallout is immediate and explosive. Critics label it state-sponsored theft. They argue that state governments, in their rush to push out welfare money without guardrails, have effectively partnered with the cartels. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz famously touted his state's generosity, pushing for universal pre-K and expanded care. But investigators argue that this generosity is exactly what the fraudsters exploited. By removing verification steps in the name of equity and access, the state opened the vault door and walked away. The Creative Minds raid, the Super Kid sign change, the fake burglary. These aren't sophisticated crimes. They're clumsy, arrogant thefts committed by people who know no one is watching. But now the eyes of the federal government are wide open. The $18 billion party is over. The ghost hubs are empty. And the only lines forming in Minnesota today are the ones for booking photos at the federal courthouse. Comment party over. If you believe accountability has finally arrived, this case teaches a brutal lesson. When oversight disappears, fraud doesn't just grow, it industrializes. When verification is removed in the name of speed and access, the Treasury becomes an ATM. And when state officials prioritize optics over accountability, criminals don't just steal millions, they steal billions. For 7 years, this network operated in plain sight. Empty buildings billing for full capacity, ghost children attending ghost facilities, convicted fraudsters still receiving state checks while awaiting trial. And through it all, not a single parent complained about closures because there were no parents. Because this operation proved something essential. Fraud thrives in silence. It grows in systems designed to avoid asking hard questions. And it flourishes when leaders mistake generosity for competence. They turned childcare programs into money laundering operations. They weaponized pandemic relief into luxury purchases. And for nearly a decade, they moved $18 billion through facilities that never cared for a single child. But in one coordinated morning, federal agents took it all down. 23 locations, 181 ghost facilities, $18 billion exposed, and a message sent. The vault is no longer open. The checks have stopped. And when criminals exploit programs meant for hungry children, they will be dismantled. If you believe state officials who allowed this fraud through negligence should be removed from office, comment "remove them" below. If you support the agents who exposed this network, tap like. And if you want me to continue uncovering how these systems are being weaponized, share this video and subscribe.